out the chocolate and sprinkles and stuff.
That's appreciated. Thank you very much. Right. Hopefully, I should be able to see what I am doing. Hello, people. There's probably no D there, but you know.
It's worth checking. Also, I think the silver balls have wheat in, and I think these are free of wheat.
Okay, right. I can now see what I'm doing. At a bit of a delay. Hopefully people can hear us. Apparently there's one person watching us.
Is it you?
No, there's two people watching us. One of them is me. So, hi, mystery person. I have no idea who you are.
Yeah. These are wheated, I believe.
Right.
I think this one is maize only, no wheat.
Okay.
This is milk with chocolate. This is chocolate with no milk.
Yep.
Just check the ingredients. Come on, where's the ingredients list? There it is. Yeah, this has got soya in it. Soy lecithin, but that's it.
Okay.
So those are two sides.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I am going to start off by baking gluten-free buns.
Always best to start that way, I find.
Yeah, I think so. We have 3 people requiring gluten-free.
I mean, that includes me.
Including you, yes.
Yeah.
So I will start with that. Right, I have no idea who's watching, but I am baking for Sans on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. You might occasionally get a Lee or a Tabby wandering in, I don't know.
Cool. I would suggest moving the phone, because if you boil water in that kettle...
Yeah, I will do later, but I'm just starting.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so, what was I saying? Yes. I am starting with gluten-free baking. A lot of this baking, I will tell you what I'm doing, just in case you are interested, or even if you're not, it helps me babble. As you will know if you tuned into my previous bakes, there's a lot of stream of consciousness random shit that's going to come out my mouth. It is not necessarily going to be child friendly. I will try and keep the swearing down, but literally no guarantees. The gluten-free bakes don't need to be vegan this time around, which makes my life a bit easier. I am happy to do gluten-free and vegan and basically to account for pretty much every dietary requirement I can think of, but I'm not going to do it unless I need to. Basically, the way you get these cakes is dependent on the idiot we have in charge and lockdown restrictions. So, if you donate to my Sans page, which is helpfully linked in the comments, feel free to comment. I'll try and reply to you. Then I will quite happily bake you a cake and deliver it to you when I am able to do so. Elspeth, don't know if you're watching, but you get a cake baked for you today because I think I can post it safely. If it doesn't arrive safely, I'll bake you another one. But yes, I am baking for Sans, which is the Stillbirth and Neonatal Death charity. Unlike my Alzheimer's bake, I'm not going to be interspersing my bakes with a lot of talk about that because it is just impossible to do that in a light, chatty manner, and I am not qualified to talk about that. If you do need help with bereavement from child death, get yourself over to Sans. It doesn't matter if you're not the mum. They have help for fathers, family members, anybody who's given birth. They are really, really, really good. And bereavement charities are important. Okay, so I am baking gluten-free, and apparently it is dairy-free. Oh, it's not going to be vegan because it's going to have eggs in. And I'm desperately trying to think what I'm doing because I'm doing my auto bakes, which is 442, because that is how I was taught to make chocolate cake. So I've just got 4 dairy-free margarine, 4 ounces. What am I doing next? 442. Ah, yeah, I need sugar. I need all the sugar in the world. Always. Right. I am gradually running out of sugar, as we can see. This is the absolute remnant of stuff that Bill bought me for. Is it Bill who bought me? Might not be, actually. I think I might have used all the ones that Bill got me from the wholesalers. This might actually be a second bag from Asda when they were doing a random like offer or whatever it was. Bill is a useful friend to know if I need stuff from the wholesalers. But when I run out, it is useful to be able to peg it to Asda in the middle of the night and go, I need things. Right. So, sugar. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this isn't the wholesaler stuff. I'm pretty sure this is the Asda stuff. Right, so 442, which I don't need to think about because it is in my head. Thank you, Mum. I think it was my mum rather than my grandma. Thank you, whoever taught me to bake, because literally, I don't think. Hey, anybody who's watched my baking channel before knows that I'm going to mention the chronic fatigue. Yeah, you'll note that I still haven't been able to afford a mixer. It's coming. It's coming. I was talking to Andy, a mate of mine, on Facebook the other day, and he was saying that key workers should be financially recompensed for the fact that we've gone out and done our jobs in the middle of a pandemic. And there's no working from home for most of us. But yeah, and he was saying, oh yeah, you guys should get an extra tax break, an extra £600 a year or something, because for tax-free spending. And very gently on his timeline, many of us sort of pointed out. So, Andy, most of us are on minimum wage, and actually, it's quite exciting in a year when we make enough to pay taxes. So, lovely idea. The government could probably spin it in a fantastic manner. Oh, look at what we're doing, and none of us would ever see any extra money. I think he felt a bit bad actually about that. Right, so 4 ounces of margarine, 4 ounces of sugar, 2 eggs. You'll note that I always cream my sugar and my butter, or butter substitute in this case. It is habit. Delia Smith taught me, years ago that actually you can just shove everything into the bowl. And you can, and it does make a perfectly reasonable cake. However, and to be honest, what I'm about to say next is more relevant with a mixer than actually doing it by hand, I think. If you cream your butter and sugar, I find you get much smoother consistency than if you just blitz everything together. I mean the other way around. So I'm doing this by hand. Now, if you've got a mixer, bung everything together, blitz it together, and it probably makes no odds. But poverty-stricken me is, you do it by hand. Pay attention to what the Victorian cooks are saying. It's not actually that bad, sorry. Because, they're baking everything from hand, and what they're saying about consistent texture, makes sense. Right, so me with my chronic fatigue, stood up, doing everything by hand. Don't worry. After this video, I'm basically lying on the sofa for ages, and I've spent today lying on the sofa so I could do this. Spoons, they're a real thing. Okay, so my favourite bit. When I was a teenager, and I think you will probably know this if you've baked with me before, I was obsessed with finding exactly how chocolatey I could make any given sponge cake. And I discovered the optimal. So basically I just added more and more cocoa every time I made chocolate cake to see how much my 442 mix. So we're doing a 442 mix by Tabby and Lee, who are not talking because they don't want to be in the video, that is now being watched by 2 whole people. Yeah. Anyway, as a teenager, adding more and more cocoa to this thing. Yeah, so I'm like, can I add more cocoa? Can I add more cocoa? What about more cocoa? And until eventually you actually completely lose consistency and there's no it's jumping out of the get to me, okay. There's no whatchamacallit, there's no, it's not holding together because there's so much bloody cocoa in the thing. Yes, so I discovered that you can add up to 3 ounces of cocoa to result and 1 of flour. Wow, I'm just doing so well. Before you get irretrievable breakdown. We are not quite at that stage yet. Because I might have run out of cocoa, which is a bit shocking because I thought I had a whole packet. This is not to worry. I've still got enough for it to be a chocolate cake for everybody because I can do funky things with the chocolate cake for the non-intolerant people. Okay, it's going to be super chocolatey icing then. Okay, so that is 2 ounces of cocoa to 3 ounces of flour. You can go up to 3 ounces of cocoa to 1 ounce of flour, but hey, and self-raising at Dove's Farm because I cannot be faffed with this bake doing funky things and fiddly things with whatchamacallit, baking soda and all that stuff. The thing I hate about cocoa though is it's such a fine particulate. And it's like goes everywhere. My sister's got this fantastic thing where she's got a KitchenAid thing. She does a lot of baking with her kids, both of whom are under 4. She's got like this guard, so she can get the little kids to add the stuff to the mixer as the mixer's whirling around, and it doesn't spiff everything up in your face. Yeah, it's a proper word. Because it's got a cover over it, so it's like I need one of those, and I'm not under 4. But right, so I'm just working this together. It's a 442 cake, so 4 ounces of dairy-free marge, 4 ounces of sugar, creamed that, and then rather than the straight 4 ounces of self-raising, which you do for a Victoria sponge, it's 1 of cocoa and 3 of self-raising flour, which is gluten-free. I personally prefer a darker, chocolatier sponge. However, to be honest, this is going to be chocolatey. It's not going to have that dark flavour, and I can do something funky with the icing. So probably, I need to remember I'm not baking these for me. I'm baking these for other people. Probably other people are going to prefer these, I suspect. We'll see anyway. Right, I've still got my Mexican coloured, Mexican themed bun cases. Oh, I'm not doing Mexican cooking today. That's probably coming on a future video. Basically, Sammy, if you tell me to do this, then I'll make you a video of me doing Mexican cooking. Probably some moles, and then Dinora and whoever else who's actually Mexican can look at me and go, "What are you doing, white girl?" Can't help it. I really love Mexican food. I went over to Mexico and just food culture over there is so good. And now I'm listening to this podcast called Cooking in Mexican A to Z. And I'm like, I know nothing about Mexican food. I think I'm getting some of, for what I cook, I think I get some of the flavour balances right. Which listening to this podcast has been like, oh yes, I do that correctly. And other things I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And of course it's aimed at an American audience. So a lot of the things that they're referencing, I'm like, I can't get hold of that. Or, they said Walmart. I wonder if Asda don't. Okay. Well, equivalent. I don't think they've actually referenced Walmart, but yeah. But that's Mexican cooking. That's later in the year. That's an August thing. I'm going to try some funky things with some different salsas and moles in the summer, which may or may not end up on YouTube. Sammy, it's all on you. Right. It is impossible to do this without licking my fingers. I really need to try not to when I'm making things for other people. Like, nobody wants your fingers. It's really annoying, actually, because I'm washing my hands so much for work right now. And they're like, I did really well at the beginning of the pandemic because I'm like, haha, I've had eczema my entire life. I am a pro at how much crap hand washing does to you. I will buy Dermal 500, my super secret weapon. Like, me and a couple of other people I know who have really bad lifelong eczema went to the pharmacies and were like, Dermal 500 now! And then the next week, when we were like, maybe I should get some more just in case, it was worse than the toilet roll thing. It was like, no, all your Dermal 500 has gone. Everybody has cottoned onto you now. So, hey, whatever. Right, okay. I have now got 10 gluten-free cakes, which is fine, because who's on my gluten-free list? Yes, excellent. So I'm going to put this on the baking tray and shove this in the oven, which has been nicely preheating and has got up to temperature, which is rather good. So there we go. That's my gluten-free stuff this month. As you will have noticed, I'm doing all chocolate cakes this time round. I will be doing a bake for Sans every month, at the end of every month for 3 months, I think. I'll put it on the Sans site so you guys can check that easier than I can right now. Basically, I'm going to choose a flavour that I want to cook with, and if you like it, go for it. Next month's probably going to be lemon. I know that Lou is like, your lemon cake. So if you can't afford to donate to Sans like loads, then don't worry about it. Wait for your favourite flavour. If you have got a request, I've got next month's sorted. But if you've got a request, tell me. And I will seriously consider that flavour for another month. Right, so first donor was Paul, and presumably Rachel and Sproglet. So I've said Sproglet not because I can't remember the name of your daughter, but because I don't know if I'm allowed to name her on the internet, so I'm opting with the safe option of no. Just in case Paul and Rachel are watching going, she said Sproglet. She didn't say our daughter's name. What sort of a friend is she? I literally can't remember the rules for your kid online, so. Anyway, my sister has very strict rules about my two nephews and what we are allowed to say and mention and tag online, which is entirely reasonable. But like, I asked my cousin if she had rules for her kids, and she was like, "What? No," and got slightly defensive. And I was like, "No, I didn't know." And apparently she's been looking at my sister's rules and going, oh, I didn't do that. Maybe I should have done. So I was like, oh, okay, sorry. But yes, anyway, so what I'm doing for Paul and Rachel and Sproglet is I'm going to attempt a rabbit cake. I say attempt because this is an attempt. I've done it a couple of times before, so I'm going to do exactly the same as you just saw, except with non-gluten-free ingredients. I'm just going to wash up my bowls because we're going through a lot today. So I've done the gluten-free bake, which is for multiple people. And then I've got, I think, 3 bakes for easier people. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but yeah, people who I don't need to really think about making sure that I'm not poisoning them. I mean, having said that, if you've got a nut allergy, you're fine in this kitchen because I can't go anywhere near nuts. So, right. I am doing my standard 442 recipe for the rabbit. God, this tea towel is not drying at all. Okay. Standard 442 for the rabbit. I'm looking at it, trying to work out if I need to do a little bit extra. I think I'm going to do 663 because the numbers are just the ratios. Because the rabbit looks a little bit bigger, and if I've got a bit left over, that is not a problem. Although, yeah, Elspeth's going to get a tray baked brownie because I've got to post hers, which is terribly exciting. Right, I need to check the time because I didn't look at the time when I put that in. Oh, I'm so professional. Right, put this away. I say put this away and hope that I've got some actual butter somewhere. So I honestly can't remember if I put it on the shopping list. It may all be made with dairy-free butter, but we'll see. Aha, it's not going to be made with dairy-free butter. Of course, the main problem with the butter is it's a lot harder to mix than the nice little margarine. Okay, so I'm going to do 663. The repetition is entirely for me. If I don't repeat myself, I will end up doing God knows what. It's great because, you know, I get to talk to myself. And I do check if you're commenting so that I can respond if you want me to. But most of it I'm just going to be nattering to myself. And you guys are going to be like, oh, it's for the YouTube video. And then some of you are like, nah, Misha's always like this in the kitchen. Oh, okay. It's true, I talk to myself. Right, okay, so I'm going to do the nice cheaty thing of popping the butter in the microwave for a couple of seconds because, okay. Right, Kari and Weasel are getting cake. So Danny, just so you know, am I holding this up right? I hope you can see this is cinnamon chocolate. You thought I couldn't do it, didn't you? You did. Okay, so yes, we will have cinnamon chocolate cake for Kari. Right, anyway, what was I doing? Margarine, yes. See, I'm a genius. I'm a goddamn genius. Okay. Oh yes. That's the other thing. So somebody is not expecting cake today because they donated to my last attempt to raise money for SANS, which was the triathlon thing. And yeah. They closed the blooming gyms, didn't they, midway through that? So if you donated to my last attempt to raise money, that did not happen, you will be getting a chocolate cake either this month or next month, depending on, for example, I know Jono prefers lemon cake. Luke, you're probably going to get chocolate, possibly chocolate and ginger at this rate, because why not? Okay, so sugar. Sugar. And yes, I am going to remind you guys that this is going to take place this month, next month, 3 months. I'm doing 663. Yeah, I am. So 6 ounces of sugar, 6 ounces of butter, and we're using actual butter this time as opposed to butter substitute. There we go. Then I'm going to mix like a boss, and thank fuck I put that butter in the microwave. Oh, I do have a hand blender, which may well come out later. But it's a blender. It's, for soups and stuff. And it's not great for cake, but depending on spoon levels. Oh God, there's a few of you now. Right, so just in case you don't know about spoons and the fact that I have chronic fatigue, I don't. I have something that everybody suddenly knows about. I've got post-viral fatigue syndrome. Which actually at this point might as well be chronic fatigue. I got glandular fever when I was 18 and it didn't go away. And every GP that I went to told me that I was lying. Not about having glandular fever, but about the fact that it didn't leave. And then on Facebook, I'm stating, mistakenly what GPs have told me over the years. And a mate of mine from school, who's now a doctor, was like, no, that's really common. Glandular fever sticks around for like 10 years, and I'm like, every GP I've seen has told me I am wrong, and like, great. Anyway, I've been saying, I've got post-viral fatigue, I need to take it easy because my immune system just sort of overreacted to glandular fever, and then the Epstein-Barr virus sort of hung around. All these things that I've been saying, like freaking long COVID, is basically your immune system freaks out because of COVID and suddenly they've got post-viral fatigue. And I'm like, yes, that's what I have. And when brain fog is like, suddenly everybody knows what you're talking about. And you're like, this is really weird. But it's Spain after the 1918 flu. Spain, for years in the 20th century, was... no, in fact, it's not Spanish flu, is it? There's Spain and polio. For years in the 20th century, Spain had really good adaptations for people in wheelchairs, for a whole variety of people with mobility issues and physical disabilities. And, it was really good, considering that Spain is often quite an ableist society in some ways. I love Spain, but, and I am not saying that Britain is amazing. But anyway, it was quite surprising, but it was down to the fact that loads of people had polio in the 20s and 30s, and lots of people in Spain. Right. 336, that means 3 eggs. And that's why they had like lots of accessibility stuff. There you go. I know amazing things. But yeah, and I hope that this pandemic is going to lead to something similar. I know a lot of, I was just being slightly bitter, and I know a lot of disabled people have been like, all those fucking accommodations we've been asking for years, suddenly now you're making them. And yeah, it does feel a bit fucking sucky, but you gotta Pollyanna it, otherwise you just end up feeling depressed. And depression is an absolute killer if you've got any sort of chronic illness and any disability. I'm not subscribing to that bollocks of positive mental attitude. because, you know, if you are chronically ill or disabled, you have to listen to your body. There's no positive mental attitude in your way. Okay, sorry, Kari, you want to see the rabbit? Okay, I am showing Kari the rabbit now. If you've got the sound on and she's not looking at the screen, look at the goddamn rabbit, Kari. I really hope you can see this. My stream is running a little short on time, so behind what I'm actually recording was a lag, so I'm like holding that up. If you didn't see it, I can bring it back and you'll see it again. Oh, fantastic. She saw it. Good. Yeah. What was I saying about chronic illness? Oh, yeah, positive mental attitude. You can't positive mental attitude your way out of chronic illness. But there's such a link between mind and body that when your body is doing the actions that you would be doing when you were depressed, you feel depressed. And when you are depressed, you do the actions of being depressed. And then your body is like, so does this mean I'm tired again? I'm saying you. I'm talking from personal experience here. And also, I mean, I've helped. I've worked with other chronically ill and disabled people. God, I'm making a mess of this batter. It's the butter. It's just not mixing as well as the marge because I do not have a mixer. I think I'll probably do it. It looks a little bit too much like scrambled eggs, but I think it will probably do. Right, okay, let's see how much chocolate I can get in here. Okay. How much of this do I actually have? Oh, it's not too much. Oh, okay. There we go. Right. And then flour that is actually self-raising and not gluten-free self-raising. And we're going for, there we go, 6. All right. Does anyone want a coffee chocolate flavoured cake? I can't imagine you would, Weasel. Who else am I making for? I've got the gluten freezing. Oh, yeah, no, I can't imagine anyone I'm baking for wants a coffee and chocolate one. Oh, you're just all terrible people. Sorry. Okay. Alright. Yeah. I hope that Paul and Rachel and Babs like this one. I mean, yeah, no, Babs is old enough to chocolate. Maybe, who knows? Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so, like, there's a complex relationship between body and state of mind. And it's, you know, somebody with more knowledge than me can probably say, oh, yeah, it's down to this hormone, that hormone, this way of chemical interaction. Right, okay, so, Kari, the bun is getting filled. Okay, because Paul was my first donor this month. So I'm going to hereby declare that I will be doing something special for each month's first donor. And I'm going to probably count it from the first donation of that month, because otherwise I'll get confused with who donated after the stream finished and all that good stuff. So yes, if you... I did put everything in, didn't I? Sugar, butter, eggs, flour, chocolate. Yeah, I did. I'm just going mad. I will get confused basically if I don't do it by months. I mean, I'm not guaranteeing everyone's going to get a rabbit because I might get bored. But... yeah, so the way you do this is you make the individual bits of cake and then you essentially glue it together with some sort of ganache probably. Or buttercream if I'm feeling lazy. I'm trying to remember how much this stuff rises. So I remember that sometimes it's a bit of a pain in the ass, which is why I'm doing this first, and then the rest of you are getting the really easy shit. Because I just don't care about you. It's still going to taste good because, frankly, I am awesome and amazing, basically. Right. I just remembered it's Corey's birthday tomorrow. Alright, you're getting a birthday cake. It's going to be chocolate flavoured. I don't know exactly how that's going to differentiate from anybody else's cake, but I've got time. Weasel, you're getting buns like everybody else. Because you're not going to complain if I give you chocolate buns. I need to stop licking my fingers for other people's cakes. Seriously. How do professional caterers deal with this? Or do they just wash their hands obsessively? I love baking. I find the act of it is just really... thank you, Weasel. Yes, I do have nice buns. Okay, Danny, coffee chocolate. All right, your request has been heard. Kari will get a birthday cake, which is not going to be a full-size birthday cake. Probably going to be a medium cake, and I'll do you some coffee chocolate buns. Right, the rabbit is going in the oven. Okay, it's almost time to get the gluten-free cakes out, but not quite. Right, okay, so we've got some chocolate left over. I suspect, Weasel, these are going to be yours. I suspect, no guarantees. Right. Okay, I think it is entirely possible I might be doing... oh, I see, yeah, no worries. I'm running out of bun cases. I thought I had a packet of bun cases. I, in fact, do not. So we'll see what happens. Oh, that's great! I keep putting my fingers in my goddamn mouth. This is why I'm struggling with eczema, because the amount of finger licking that I do. And I was like, seriously, literally, fingers, in substance, in mouth. Like, I'm 4. I am basically 4. I'm really not 4. 40, nearly. It is my 40th next year. Very excited about that. There you go. Cardinal sin. A woman tells her age on the internet. Shock horror, you're all going to log off now. This is the problem with having been camming when I'm younger. Like, as soon as you hit 23, you're like, no, you're too old. Which is not actually strictly true, even in the cam world. It's just, things get weirdly hard. Right. Let's do a little bit of washing up, because with this amount of baking, the washing up is a necessity. Because the recipes are all slightly different. And I mean, yeah, this is why I did the gluten-free stuff earlier. Because if you do the gluten-free stuff first, it's less hassle, less worry, to be honest. Because then you're like, oh shit, am I going to mix up the vegan stuff with the meaty stuff? Not that I put meat in my cakes. Right, okay, there we go. So we've got gluten-free people. Paul, who gets the special cake this month. So we've got Luke, we've got Kari, we've got Weasel, and I think that's everybody. I'm not doing your meat cakes, Weasel. It just sounds dirty in some unspecified manner. Right, just for my sister's edification, that's 6 eggs I've used. That's 6 eggs. I only have 12 left. I know. My sister has this just... My sister is bizarre in many, many, many ways. Yeah, she has this weird nesting thing about must have eggs. Apparently, when you become a mum, you become weird about, I don't know, nesting things, psychological or whatever. Anyway, her thing is storing eggs, and get this, she's not thought of as unusual amongst her mummy friends. This from Miss Childfree here. So, yeah. Okay, you're all weird. Right, Kari, let's do you, because you're funky. Yes, okay. So, my brain is cream cheese today. Right, okay, yes. So we're doing some butter, which is going to be a mixture of butter and marge at this point. What am I doing? I'm doing a 4-4-2 next, I think. Because then I can distribute, mix evenly. There we go. So yeah, like I said earlier, 4-4-2 is me reminding myself what the ratios are. And it's just I don't have to think about it, bung it in cake. It's a Victoria sponge plus flavouring, essentially. Okay, I've got marge on my thumb, and I am literally having to stop myself licking off the marge. There's something really wrong with me when my fingers get sticky. I suspect it is now time to get the gluten-free cakes out. It is. Yes. They are nice and springy. And I definitely do not want to open the oven door on Rachel and Paul's cake again until it's done. So this is going to be a batch cook. Right, so that is butter. Then I want to put 4 ounces of sugar in with that. Because it's a 4-4-2 cake. Right, there we go. Okay, right. Genius is me for pouring things in. Okay, Danny, I'm not making a meat cake. I will repeat as often as I need to. No meat cakes. So this is going to be Kari's birthday cake. Well, birthday cake from me, anyway. Will probably be delivered to you guys tomorrow morning, along with some Hanami type things. Because, this seems reasonable. So yes, Hanami being the picnic that I'm doing tomorrow, I'm really looking forward to it. If anybody doesn't know, I lived in Japan for a couple of years, and I loved it. It was like my first adult job. Oh, okay, no. It was my first graduate job, and my first real job after getting a degree and getting a PGCE, actually. And I absolutely loved it, and Japan had a massive impact on just how I am in the world. I mean, any Japanese person watching is probably going to go, really? Because we can't see it. But no, seriously. Just all the women that I met and hung out with in Japan, and just, I am so, I don't know, I'm more comfortable in my skin. I've definitely been affected by how, there was a woman called Izumi who taught me Japanese, and just her take on how to be a feminist. And also Yoko, whose surname I totally can't remember. They were fantastic feminist artist women who just had a very different take on life to everything I'd come across in Europe and America. Not totally, because human beings, we all pretty much think alike. And just, yeah. So I loved living in Japan. Japan had a massive impact on my psyche. When I went out there on the JET programme, which is British Council run, and they were like, yeah, it's gone on mouth again. The British Council were all like, yes, we run this programme to foster friendship between our countries and all this stuff. So I'm like, yeah, all right, let's exchange some culture. I'm going into a mate's school in some weeks. I say going into, they're keeping me outside from, full distance from the kids and whatnot because of COVID, but to teach them about Hanami and some Japanese stuff. I'm doing all their names in katakana. Right, butter, sugar, eggs, chocolate and flour. So this will be the cinnamon chocolate okari. Oh, that's a lump of butter. Let's try and get that a bit more mixed. Well, I'm going to have really powerful shoulders. Apparently, powerful shoulders and upper arms were really pronounced amongst prehistoric women. So, I am a prehistoric woman. Hope not. I'm staying true to my ancestors. Okay, there we go. And then some flour. Right. I am measuring this. I know I'm saying some to the camera, but it's like, no, okay. So you got 2 ounces of cinnamon chocolate going into Kari's birthday cake. And 2 ounces of self-raising flour. Again, it's not my full-on preferred construction of before the mass breaks down of 3 to 1. God, cooking is just so many ratios, isn't it? I should have been way better at certain aspects of maths as a kid. It's so weird as well because, like, people are always saying, oh, when are you going to use that when you're older? And okay, admittedly, I've, built installations and stuff. But like also with DIY and stuff, you're always using, maths. I mean, really basic stuff, but like ratios and trigonometry and stuff. And I really wish I was better at stats. I think I'd understand a lot more of what was actually going on in the world, but I could do stats worth of. I'm pretty sure my friend Mark would agree with me because he's a fucking statistician. He knows what he's talking about. Right. Okay. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Hey, I'm doing so much better this time round than I did with the Pride stuff, where they were constantly shutting me down for having sounds on in the background. I don't have the window open because it's not, middle of summer, so random copyrighted music isn't winging its way through the window. Where are the bottoms to my cake tins? I am slightly confused here because I was cooking with these things the other day, and yeah, so this is what we're working with. We should have bottoms, and the bottoms are gone. At this point, I start blaming Tabby, to be honest. She's clearly put them away somewhere unexpected. If she's watching the stream, she's swearing at me right now and going, I have not. You're the one who loses things. But I mean, I put them away next to each other. One of the few things I'm very good about. If I'm putting something away, it needs to go next to the thing that it goes with. Otherwise, this happens. And I completely lose it. Right, okay. Now, the bottoms of my cake tins have vanished. So we're going to get creative with baking trays. Okay. And greaseproof paper. Which is not ideal, but should at least result in an actual solid cake. We hope. Right. Slightly concerning because I need the bottoms to those things. They're rather useful. Okay. Right. Yeah, so at this point, the baking paper is going to be what's making sure that the thing doesn't fall out of the bottom, and I don't really like doing that. On the other hand, I am at a bit of a loss on how to actually make this otherwise, because I'm running out of useful baking dishes. Cake tins, anyway. Yeah. That is frustrating as all heck. Okay, right, let's improvise and hope. Greaseproof paper, and then I'm going to fold it in half, because that is the last best hope for mankind. I really hope that this is going to work. bet Kari is too, actually, if she's watching this. Sorry, guys. I don't know where the bottom of the damn things have gone. Tabby, I need you to come home and find things for me. Apparently I'm completely useless. I don't really, if you're watching this, please stay where you are. Yeah. So that's on my job list. Find the bottoms of my baking tins before next month's stream. Okay, so I'm going to do 2. And then they both come out okay, that's sorted. And if only one comes out okay, or I can mix and match, then Kari will get her birthday cake, which is what we are trying to achieve here. Right, okay. Okay, so this is the cinnamony chocolate one, where I am putting it into tins without bottoms because apparently I have lost half my baking stuff. Because obviously I have. Right, okay, there we go. We'll see where this goes. Now I'm not immediately putting this in the oven because we are waiting for Paul and Rachel's cake to get done. So I am about to go and get the ingredients for Elspeth's tray bake. Don't worry, Danny, I haven't forgotten about you. Weasel, your batter is also over there, ready to go in a bit. Alright, pop this out of my way. Pop this out of my way and hold. That's basically what we're on to now. Okay. Alright, let's go and get the ingredients for Elspeth's bake. Oh. Right. So, we're good. Right. For Elspeth's bake, I am I'm cheating a little bit. My sister, which got me this mix for Christmas, and it is basically the sugar and the cocoa pre-mixed with flour. I'm just looking at this. Combine the contents of this packet with butter and eggs. And half the chocolate mix, yeah. And then pour into a tray and bake. Yeah, there we go. So, it's a little different, but then I've definitely got enough mix for everybody. And the reason that I am mixing it a little with what's already in here is because I'm going to do something funky for Danny's cake. Well, that is my plan anyway. We will see what happens. Okay. Right. Okay. Why am I opening that cupboard? I need to open the fridge. Okay, so the fridge is where the things are. Right. So obviously, this being somebody else's recipe, suddenly we're thrown from ounces to grams. which probably shouldn't confuse me as much as it does. I honestly was born in the 80s. And the metric system came in the 50s, 60s? But, you know, brought up by boomers, so I'm not blaming my parents. I'm blaming a combination of parents, teachers, short positions, and straight in the mouth. As soon as my fingers get sticky, straight in the mouth. And that was Marge. That wasn't even butter, sugar. No, I was straight up Marge, and it went straight in my mouth. There is something wrong with me. I don't often lose my bottom, to be fair. I usually know exactly where it is, but, you know, the bottoms have gone missing. Right, so 250 grams, because, like I said, this is somebody else's recipe. So suddenly we're out of my constantly chanting 4, 4, 2, 3, 3, 6. It's all right. I'll do that again next month. That's a little too much. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I can feel myself about to lick it. Okay, I'm getting better. I stopped myself. That was good, right? Okay. So 250 grams and 3 beaten eggs. Right. It does say melted, so I'm going to transfer this into a microwavable bowl. There's so many people I know who are like, oh no, you can't have a microwave in your kitchen. Oh, microwaves. And I'm talking to them and they're like, oh yes, well I wouldn't ever have a microwave meal. I'm like, well, all right, fair enough. But you use your microwave for cooking and like making your life easier, not ready meals. Or at least I do. Maybe I don't think this is a chronic illness thing. Because to be honest, a chronic illness thing benefits from the micro meals actually. It's like it's a tool. It's a really handy gadget, guys. You're missing out. Okay, yeah, that is some nicely melted margarine. So I'm going to mix that with 3 eggs. Jen, if you're watching this, I'm almost out of eggs. I'm down to 7, Jen. She called me a dick the other day. I mean, to be fair, I was being a dick. But I am. And this could have missed it. I WhatsApped her and I said to her, Jen, I need to talk to you. I've got to talk to you urgently. Yes, over like 5 minutes. She's not checked her WhatsApp, so I don't feel too bad. Jen, I need to. And then I broke off actually because my mum called me at that point. So I missed her WhatsApping me, like FaceTiming me, whatever. And then like talked to my mum for like 5-10 minutes, and then was like, right, I really quickly need to message Jen. I was like, I only have 16 eggs. She FaceTimed me and she said I was a dick. And then she said, it's okay though, if you can get over to mine, I've got 30. Okay. The madness. It is known. I do not understand. I really do not understand the eggs and nesting thing. I love it though, because it's really easy to tease her about it. Okay. It says combine, so it doesn't matter which bowl we're doing in. We're going to do it in the chocolate bowl because that's easier to tip things into. Right, go. Oh, I do like raising money for charity. It makes me feel good. You guys can feel good too because you are donating money. I will also be donating some money, but tends to be my go-to reaction in a stressful situation is I need to help in some way because that is what's going to give me some feeling like I'm coping with things. And I have not been coping super well, or at all, with lockdown over the past, pretty much since January, actually. Since the end of January. I don't know exactly what it was. I think it's something like, it's something like we're right at the end. I had a lovely analogy that I put on Facebook the other day of we're it's like we're on the descent part of a mountain, and if you go up a mountain, there's the lovely walk, hopefully, unless you're at the top 2/3 of Mount Fuji, in which case it's a volcano. There is nothing bleaker looking than the side of a volcano. You got the lovely walk going up, and you get to the top, and you're on a high because you've got to the summit, and like everything's amazing. And then you start going down, and at first it's fine. Again, unless you're on Mount Fuji. I love climbing Mount Fuji, but the descent is hell. So like you start going down, and if you're in the lakes, lovely view, and it's gorgeous. And there's flavoured chocolate bits going into Elspeth. Don't worry, the rest of you are going to get these on top. So yeah, and it's you got this view, and it's okay at first. Mount Fuji is a scree slope descent. It is not okay. And you're going to be okay, fine. And then you get to the point about 2/3 the way down the mountain. And that is the point where you can often see the pub you're finishing in, or the car park, or whatever. And that's the point where it's not okay. It's suddenly, I just need to just get to the end. The worst descent for this actually was when I broke my leg. I was at Helvellyn with Jono, and obviously I didn't know I broke my leg. I thought I twisted my ankle, and I was like, shit, I'm the one who's got to drive home. Right, let's not take off the boot, because otherwise it's just going to, expand. Keep the boot on, tie it on tighter, sort it at the other end when I get home. Which should have been fine. It was absolutely agony. And it was just the normal sort of, oh God, last bit of the hike. And it's just so hard to get through. And so that really hurt. But actually, the pain gave me something to focus on. I actually think the worst end of a hike, which actually wasn't going down a mountain, was the Lightwake Walk, which is 42 miles in 24 hours. I was 16, and I just wanted to die the last mile, I think. We'd been going so long, and we just hadn't been stopping, which is another thing that's analogous to this pandemic, because my boss told me that I haven't taken basically any holiday since my dad's funeral. Dad's memorial, actually. Fuck's sake, it's gone straight in my mouth. Because I'm used to using all my holiday up through being ill. So I haven't taken any time off because I've not been ill, because all the germs are at home. It's amazing. I will say this for lockdown. It's been really good for not getting ill. For me, obviously, if you get COVID, then yeah, that's been really shit. Right, let's have a look at the rabbit and open the oven and see what's happening here. Okay. Yes! Haha! Okay, bits of it are a little too cooked, maybe. But, right, let's see if I can do this without burning myself. This is what the rabbit looks like. Look upon my works, ye mighty, and despair. Well, maybe not, but, you know, I think it looks pretty good. Okay. Right. Now, we are going to pop. Yeah, fuck it. Okay, let's put the brownie in because that needs to actually go in at a cooler temperature. So this is Elspeth's tray bake. Put in a bit lower down because the oven's cooled down with opening. Right, so gluten-free rabbit for Paul and Rachel, Kari, Weasel. I'm just going to check the page to see. I should check my Facebook post. Okay, I will check my Facebook post. Apparently. Okay, checking my Facebook post. Oh, I love it. Oh, man. This is hilarious. Oh. Right, okay. Yes, you are amusing as shit. Thank you, guys. Yes, so what am I even doing? I'm laughing at you lot. Right, what I am going to do is check my Sans page to make sure I've not missed anybody whom I am baking for. Because I would... Right, who have we got? Oh, thank you guys. We're up to 120 quid. That's not bad for the first month. Okay. So Weasels like cakes. Okay. And apparently I can only see the most... there we go. Danny and Kari likes cakes. Tabby likes cakes. Paul and Anne like cakes. Elspeth likes cakes. Paul and Rachel like cakes. Yeah, so I've got everybody. So now it is the Danny cake. I hope. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Right, yes, I love my Facebook post, Kari. Thank you so much. Ooh, no, the Danny cake. Stay. It's okay. It doesn't went in the washing up, but there's no water in there. So, when you're not dealing with allergies and you are baking, what do I mean? When you are baking a lot of the same flavour cakes, I do like to keep using the same bowl because it obviously gets infused with the relevant flavour. Right, and now I am trying to find my camp coffee because camp coffee is how I am going to make a coffee and chocolate cake. Do you want cinnamon in yours, Danny? I mean, it's probably going to be a bit cinnamony, but it's me asking. Oh God, there we go. I was just thinking, I really should have got out my ingredients beforehand. I was like, you got out your flavours beforehand. It's right there. Okay, I'm glad this is the last bit of the bake because I'm going to reach that "you're slightly tired" phase. Okay, right, Danny, cinnamon answer, please. Cinnamon is fine? Yep, cool. Okay, it's also going to have a little bit of chicory because that smooths out the coffee and chocolate flavour. It makes it taste a little bit warm and spicy without actually being warm and spicy. It'll be nice, I swear. Right, okay. What am I doing? I really need to stop asking what am I doing. Aha! Yes, no, I do know what I'm doing. Right, okay, Danny. Let's see if you like this cake. Right, so this is going to be the first cake that I am actually grating chocolate into. So this is going to be a little different. Because the Camp Coffee that I use is a liquid, so I'm about to say something which I suspect is more belief than actuality. But there's clearly something happening there, so, you know. Anyway, so what I'm about to say is, when you are using a liquid ingredient, it needs to not just be straight liquid and dry ingredients. I know, I don't know if I'm just straight up talking bollocks at this point. I might be. So I like putting grated chocolate if I'm doing a coffee and chocolate cake, because it seems to go smoother. Now, whether this is because also, again, I'm hand blitzing everything. I haven't even, resorted to the hand blender this time, which, to be fair, is not great. So it might just be because I'm hand mixing everything. I don't know, but it's a thing. I might just be doing it for, I believe this to be true, therefore I'm doing it. I genuinely don't know. But it can't be straight. It can't be just straight dry. It's got to be, there's got to be some easing between dry and liquid ingredients. You gotta smooth your way in. I'm not Nigella Lawson, I'm really not. I was trying to make it like sexy and sensual, and yeah, no, ain't happening, whatever. Right. Oh wow. I'm amazed by the amount of people who are like watching this. So anyway, I think I'm a nice sort of background presence. I think also I might be quite annoying for some people. So we're doing my 442. So that is 4 butter, 4 ounces. Back to ounces because I'm not using someone else's recipe. 4 ounces of butter, 4 ounces of sugar, 2 eggs, and kind of 4 ounces of self-raising flour, sort of. Right, okay, so we're putting it into the infusing bowl I've used for basically all the chocolate cakes that have come before this. Because Danny is going to get a deep flavour. Oh my fucking god! Straight in the mouth. Like, I can't. It goes on my fingers, it goes in my mouth. My youngest nephew is not quite 2, and he is better at this than I am, I think. He might not be, actually. Right. I'm going to try and not put things straight in my mouth. I am washing in between the baking, so at least you guys know it's not. Right. Right, so this is eggs. We're up to eggs. Jen, if you're watching, I'm almost on my final egg. It's okay, Jen. I lied. I've got 6 more. Sorry, the thing with my sister and eggs just amuses the hell out of me. It really does. I'm like, what? And she's like, no, it's a perfectly normal nesting mother reaction. I'm like, okay, mate. I mean, they are a staple. You can make anything with eggs. Right? Like eggs and potatoes. You can, do anything. And apparently, if you live in Virginia, according to my mate Kat, you never run out of salt. Which, yeah, that makes sense. But yes, I learned many things about Virginia. Yes, see, this is why I'm using the same bowl. It's really all the sort of excess chocolate mix that has been in here before, and I am not going to worry about ratios because, like, I've been like, oh yeah, 442, 336, and all the rest of it. Actually, 663, isn't it? But it's maybe more like guidelines. That actually went weirdly Scottish. God. There's a random Scottish bloke online who's slightly flirting with me. I think he's interested. And I'm like, oh, I've got to never do my Scottish accent in front of you. I never have to. Because I'm like, you're quite hot. No, I must never. And obviously I'm putting it on YouTube where anyone can find it because I'm an idiot. But yes. When you think you can do an accent and you're like, oh, there's a person with that accent, and you're like terrified that you're gonna start doing it any second. Does anybody else get that? Is that just me? Could be. But yes. Because there's not very many accents I can do, to be honest. I can do. Well, I think I can do Scottish, but let's not do that again, eh? Obviously, sorry, Danny, since you're watching, I thought I'd do my favourite one. I watch a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race, and Tabby asked me if I was going to be in Snatch Game, who I would be. And she was like, oh, I can't think who you'd be. And I'm like, but my darling, it's obvious, George. Don't do that. I'd be the perfect Joyce Grenfell. I think I've got the body language. I'm sure I could do something bad teeth. Yeah. So obviously, if I was on Snatch Game, I'd do Joyce Grenfell and hope like hell that RuPaul was not completely flummoxed by a British stand-up comedian from the 30s. But yeah, so okay, it's 2 accents I can do. I know there's more. Oh, yeah, but you can do my Molar accent that we did at Redwall. And to be honest, I'm not too worried about meeting any moles who, I might accidentally offend, because it's blatantly obvious I'm not doing a particularly good West Country accent. Oh God, Kari, don't shoot me. I've just remembered you're vaguely from. I know you're Gloucestershire, aren't you? Never mind. Anyway, so that's 3 accents, and I've now put them on the internet, so I have no hope in hell of my friends who really do speak like that never finding out. I have done it to myself, so which means I can't be mad at anybody, and they know what they're getting. Fuck. I have desperately been trying to remember how to be an adult with the Scottish bloke, and it's like, mate. But anyway, it's all good, it's all good. So, Danny, this is your chocolate cake, chocolate and coffee. And I have mixed up the chocolate and flour and sugar and butter. Well, not butter at this point, we're on fromage. Now, I have the beautiful secret ingredient. This is, honestly, I love this stuff. I use it for, those of you who are aware, for making my liqueurs at Christmas. Because that's what my dad used to do for Christmas. He used to make peppermint liqueur Which is the first thing I ever got drunk on. Because it's hugely appropriate to give your, God, I dread to think, 3-year-old a shot glass. And to be fair, it doesn't have that much vodka in it. Or I don't think it did at that point. It's gone up and down over the years, the amount of pure grain spirits that go into it. And anyway, the coffee liqueur was always my favourite, which is why Craig gets it every year. Because Craig has similar tastes to me. Coffee liqueur and pate. Oh. My littlest nephew, I managed to give the last crumb of my dad's pate that my dad had actually made to when we were gathering for my dad's funeral. Right. That is heavy. This is why. So I'm beating this quite hard, a lot more than I did, because it's liquid ingredients again. So you're drying your liquids, and I'm trying to make sure it's as light as possible going in. So I don't want a sad cake. And I discovered the other day, sad cakes, which are cakes that flub in the middle. It's a real word, I swear. Fuck. Sorry, it goes straight in my mouth. Yeah, sad cakes. I always thought it was my mum being slightly whimsical, you know, because they've depressed in the middle, so they're sad. No, it comes from like a Viking word, meaning, I don't know, solid, I think, or the same root word as solid. And I was like, oh right, I've been using Viking terminology and never realising it. But yeah, sorted. Okay, so greased the tin. So we're going through a gamut of tins. Now for years I used to just grease the tin. When I made cakes with my girlfriend, not Tabby, Laura. Shockingly, I'm polyamorous for somebody who's putting their life on the internet. That was a big shock, right? So yeah, and she was like dusting her cake tins. I'm like, what? What's that about? She was like, yeah, it releases easier. I'm like, oh my god, it does. So I don't consistently do it, but I do it if I've got very heavy mix. This is also why Danny's cake is going in a wide tin rather than the deep tin of the others, because then it's got more chance of rising. Okay, so Elspeth's cake tray bake should be about ready. So let us get that out of the oven. Oh wow! Yeah, no, not so much. Okay. Down at the temperature, and what we're going to do is, I think these are the weasel buns, the Kari cakes, and now the Danny cake, which I'm going to Tetris onto one tray because I am a goddamned genius. Okay. Cake, Tetris, best Tetris. Not going to work totally. So, got that on, and then that on. We've got 2 trays. So, that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. Maybe. Okay. Right, there we go. nobody. So now I start decorating. I don't feel so bad about actually looking actual honest to God cake mix. Oh my god, Danny, this is so good. Seriously, mate. Oh. I really hope your cake turns out alright. Right, okay, I'm going to wash my hands and then I am going to attempt the rabbit. So it's basically making a ganache and sticking all the bits together. So in order to do that, I have to do a little bit of washing up, which is probably a little bit boring for you guys because you get to see my back. It's a very sexy back. On the other hand, I think my charity is plastered over the back. So you can remember that you are donating not just to get cake, although that is a nice plus, but also for a charity that has been hella active during lockdown. Yeah. If you imagine the work that they do as standard and then just times 10 because the amount people have been on their own. And just, I mean, maternity wards have been pretty horrific places over lockdown in terms of it's not what you would expect, how much you're on your own, and then obviously if that goes wrong, just not good. So, Sands, amazing people. I really like them. Right! So, what I always loved doing as a kid was melting chocolate. I don't know why. I think it's because it's such a simple thing. And so obviously that's what you end up doing as a kid. That's what I ended up doing as a kid anyway. So, you know, you're given a job and you're told just fucking stir it and keep out the way. With less swearing. I don't remember my mum swearing as much as I do. But yeah, so there we go. God, I was in a meeting the other day for work, so I'm not going to go into details. I was so pissed off because they were. So you've got a whole load of professionals, and I'm minuting. And when I say professionals, it's mostly education professionals in this meeting and people from social services and that sort of thing. Plus you've got a service user. So you've got professionals plus non-professional person who needs the service. And he got asked to tone his language down. Specifically, the service user got asked to keep his language professional. And I was like, I guess, yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from, but he's not here in a professional capacity. He's here to talk about his life or, you know, access services for his life. And the chair of the meeting actually said that she would stop the meeting unless he cleaned up his language. And I was thinking, because I mean, I'm just lowly nobody, but that doesn't seem right. That's like, I mean, if he had been swearing aggressively at her, yeah, totally, you know, you're a bitch, whatever, yes, shut that shit down. But he wasn't. He was swearing much the same way I do, which is fucking this, bloody that, you know. It's not great, I'm aware it's not great. But like, I mean, what about service users who literally just can't? You know, because as soon as you try and police their language, their disability, the reason they're accessing the service, kicks in and, oh, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a full-on professional, so maybe it was correct, but it just seemed a bit dodgy to me. I didn't like it. Hello! I've missed you, Fiona, darling. I love that you're calling me wholesome, but Mary Berry is like older than my mum. I'm not saying I'm sensitive about my age, but seriously, dude. Right, okay. Gonna get some of this away because we're now onto the melting chocolate, mixing it into funky shit stage of things, which I really enjoy. Like I said, I got onto this tangent about language through saying that I liked melting chocolate. I was talking to Laura about streaming the other day, and she was saying you can tell who the best streamers are. She streams games. They're the people who don't mind talking to themselves. I was like, well, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm occasionally looking at the freaking comments and going, oh yeah, cake, cinnamon, wholesome, Mary Berry. Mostly it's just listening to me ramble in a kitchen, occasionally talk in numbers to get my ratios right. Now, Sammy frickin' says this is relaxing, so alright, whatever. Like I did two making streams purely off the back of Sammy saying that it was chilling her out. Alright. And then there was the Pride stream, which just got continually shut down because too much background noise had copyright on it. Right, there we go. So yeah, I'm doing your simple homemade bain-marie thing, which is boiling water in a pan, and then a bowl full of chocolate. And you put some heat under the pan, not too much. I've got Belgian dark chocolate because that's what I like to use. I am going to use a chunk of milk chocolate, but not for the first stuff because that all has to be gluten-free, dairy-free, lactose-free, other freeness. Insert here. So yeah, at this point I should really have put the chocolate on to melt earlier. What I'm actually going to do, I think, is break up this chocolate to melt as well. And then I'll get on with the decoration if we're lucky, and if the other chocolate is melted. So I'm going to do some pretty basic frosting with some funky ingredients on. And obviously the rabbit cake, Fiona, you haven't seen the rabbit cake. So proud of this. Okay, so it's in a rabbit mould. It's lots of different pieces. And then I glue it together with the chocolate ganache. Is the plan. We'll see how it goes. What, me? Innuendo, Fiona? Never. I still remember you finding Weasel's Beowulf rendition a bit much. I think that was you. I really enjoyed Weasel's storytelling. I mean, Weasel takes after their father, obviously, who gets paid money for essentially role-playing, professionally. Yeah, and as I recall, Weasel's version of Beowulf was quite sexy. Not in a Weasel is sexy way. There's a lot more rumpy pumpy going on in this version of Beowulf than in any translation I've read before. Was it Tolkien who translated Beowulf? Or am I imagining that? I know Seamus Heaney did the really good one, but I have in my brain that Tolkien did a translation as well. And there was a new one recently, wasn't there? I'm not totally certain. Because, like all people who are 40, 39 and 38, I either love or hate Seamus Heaney, because he was in our GCSE anthology. Right, so Fiona, I've finished my baking for this month's sessions, but I will be doing this again at the end of next month and the month after that. Slightly different flavours. So next month is going to be lemon. I haven't decided the month after that. So donate to the Sands page and you will get a cake. Now, I'm saying you will get a cake. My friend Elspeth donated this month. She is also living in London. And I'm going to try and post it to her. If it works, you are within my grasp. Or something. So I will attempt to get it for you. But this month, we're done with all the bakes. I'm just on to the decorations now. As I melt chocolate. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, your mum. Oh, that was why you were uncomfortable, because your mum was in the audience. Yeah, I'd forgotten that. What is this university society that you have come to? Weasel, you tell a good story, but maybe there's a bit too much of a certain, theme about it. I'm sorry, Fiona. I'm sure that there's somebody who deserves cake, but yeah, I will try and get it to you, definitely. Right. Okay, I've got to find where I'm going to construct this. It's not a monstrosity, definitely. Right, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip this upside down, because I do have a tip stand, but I can't find it. I'm going to cover it in silver foil. So, for the construction of the rabbit. You never know, next month I might be even slightly more prepared. Who knows? It's been a while since I've done one of these. I think being booted off YouTube when I was doing the live streams last year for music coming in my open window put me off. So I might have to think about whether I want to do, because I've got to open the window in summer because it gets too hot in here. But we'll see. We will see. You don't remember telling Beowulf? Seriously, it was awesome, but there was a lot of to it and stuff. It was really good. It was just a bit, when some little 18-year-old kid has invited their mum along to see what they're doing at uni, it's like, okay, oops. So yeah, these things are melting quite nicely. So I'm going to do a ganache for the rabbit, and I'm going to do some more standard frosting for the buns. So there we go. All these things are going to be delivered probably tomorrow morning, I think. The aim being in time for Hanami. I was going to originally try and deliver them this evening, but I think I am going to be too tired for that. So I'm amenable to people who want to pick up, as long as you text me a bit of a warning. But I won't be delivering until tomorrow now, I think. Unless I get an offer of somebody who wants to deliver cake to people. The key with the homemade bain-marie is to know when to turn the heat off. because when they start bubbling and boiling, that's when you're likely to get water into your chocolate, which really screws things up. And is not what we are aiming for. Okay. So, molten chocolate, butter and icing sugar for, say butter, don't worry, this is the gluten-free lot again. No butter. No butter was harmed in the making of these buns. It is going to be margarine and chocolate. I say margarine, yes it is margarine, but it is quite nice. As evidenced by the amount of times I've stuck my finger in it and licked it today, because that is apparently what I do. And you will be getting the shimmer pills for decoration because you can eat those. And you will also be getting the sugar rice flour golden stars. You will not be getting these. I need to make sure I don't put those on the gluten-free, dairy-free things by accident. I don't think it was pornographic. We're back to Beowulf again. Was it pornographic? I think it was detailed. There was just a lot of thrusting. Pagan sock at uni was hilarious. Okay, right. I am laughing at my own jokes at this point. Right. Oh yeah, I was looking for glitter. Because that's always fun to put on things. Right, I've got a bit more chocolate to play with. Yeah, I think I do. Tabby was telling me I didn't have chocolate. So you do. Okay. But I think we're finally out of glitter. I'm going to need to get myself some new baking glitter for next month, I think. Right. Okay. Right. Let us mix up our stuff. The non-dairy-free people are going to have a slightly more exciting time with their frosting and ganache, because basically I can make it slightly more exciting. Yes. I like to mix up the buttercream into buttercream as I would do. I like to part mix it. So that it's sort of like chunky breadcrumbs, like orangey breadcrumbs, and if you see that. And then add the chocolate. By the very scientific method of that looks about right, basically. Okay, I'm going to mix this, and then I think I'm going to put a bit more in. Because I think this is not just about textures and liquid and dry. I think this is also about hot and cold. I think, God, I can't remember. I think it's Heston Blumenthal's the name of the guy who puts science in cooking. I'm going to lick it. I'm not going to lick it. I looked at myself and I was like, no, don't lick it. It's strong. And I'm sure he'd have loads to say about like what the actual chemistry of this was doing. It is not my field, so I'm just like sort of, I think this. And I'm probably coming out with some complete trash. Oh, nope, it went in my mouth. Oh. Right, okay. I cannot believe quite how much I have returned to hand washing. description of Beowulf's genitals was about how big he was, I think. Oh, I have this horrible thought that you might have actually described Grendel's genitals as well. God. Anyway. Yeah, is this still wholesome and Mary Berry enough for you? Sorry, Fiona, you brought it up. You brought this upon yourself. Actually, I might have done. So anyway, sciencey Chef Heston Blumenthal would probably be able to tell you what bits you need to actually take into consideration in terms of heat, temperature, consistency, liquid, dry. I cannot. I am literally spouting stuff up because it looks right and it feels right, which, you know, given that's the same basis that they based medieval medicine on, I could be telling you anything. Quick, rub some of that plant on. It looks like a hand. It's clearly good for broken hands. Oh. Clearly. Right. Okay. So, obviously, next month is lemon. Do any of you lot have an opinion on what I should do flavour-wise and baking theme-wise in future months? Because we've got a few of these, and I'm aiming to reach £500 for Sands. So I want to do stuff that people are going to like. I had half a sort of notion that I could do some floral flavours because I've been getting really into like rose petal candying and weird shit like that, but I don't know whether. I know that there's at least one person that I am hoping to get a donation of who'd be actually outright allergic to that. So, and it's a bit obscure. But I could also do things like vanilla if people are really into their red velvet cakes. So yeah, if you've got any ideas for flavour suggestions, go for it. If you don't, that's fair enough. Like I said, I'm going to have a few of these coming up. Basically, a Saturday at the end of the next few months. Because I enjoyed baking and because people said they enjoyed me doing live stream baking sessions last year. So I figured I would do that for Sand, because also if lockdown reverses, then I've not committed to anything that like I did last year when we were going to do the triathlon for Sand. I've not committed to anything that I literally can't do because suddenly coronavirus. Because them shutting gyms basically meant I couldn't do the swimming for Sands, which is usually what I end up doing more active things usually for Sands than baking. But like I said earlier in the stream, I'm having a really hard time with lockdown at the moment and have been since January. My activity levels have basically plunged through the floor. I am comfort eating for England. I really am. I have gained 1.5 stone now, which is frustrating. And I'm basically a couch potato, which is not where I want to be, but just the motivation or anything, it's hard. I was doing all right, but creme brulee. Yeah, bacon sock was not. I could do so creme brulee is basically custard, and I want to do themes or things that gives me a few options for what to do. I think I could probably, because I don't have a blowtorch. I could probably do a creme brulee, but I'd like to be able to do some other things so that, I don't just get you, Danny, going, yes, give me a creme brulee. So I wonder if I could do like a custardy or vanilla themed. Ooh, yeah, no, if I do a vanilla month, then I could do a creme brulee, do a red velvet cake. I could do a basic Victoria sponge. Actually. Yeah, no, do a complex bake for the first donation of the month, which is how Paul and Rachel got my rabbit. And then do a less complex cakes as we go on, probably finishing with some Victoria sponge buns or some fairy cakes, because actually Bill really likes fairy cakes, so I'll definitely get a donation from him, I think. Ooh, I believe I'm having a phone call. Excuse me a minute. Hello, I'm just streaming, darling. I am. I'm on YouTube making a YouTube video, but it's live. So, yes. Bye-bye. Yes, okay, so I figure I'd rather answer the phone under those circumstances and explain than not. Generally speaking, it's not a great idea to ring me on a Saturday anyway, because it's my one day off a week, and I do pagan stuff later on. So you're not going to get through to me, really. I did make sure to talk to my mum earlier today, though, because otherwise she would definitely have. Cool. I think I decorate things like I'm still 5. I just shove some stars and stuff on, and there we go. I always start with like the best of intentions, and then I'm just like, nah, fuck it. Shove some decorations on. Okay, so this is what your gluten-free cakes are looking like, guys. I think it looks alright. It's not professional quality, but then that wasn't what you were anticipating, was it now? Yes. I'm going to miss my sumo at 4:30, so I'm going to be watching my sumo at 10:30 tonight. So if there's anybody who is like, but sumo, then I apologise, but that will be happening later tonight because I can. Right. Okay, there we go. Okay. Elspeth's bake is done. The buns that I cannot remember who they were for are done. I think these are weasels. Okay. And yep. Kari and Danny's cakes are done. The oven is being turned off. Okay, so that is all the baking for this month done, which is quite exciting. Okay, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now, be slightly more exciting if I can find where all the stuff is. Right. So I described it as a creme fraiche, as a ganache. It's kind of a ganache, sort of ganache. I suspect it's more an adaptation of a ganache. It's not, Oh, there we go. Okay. Right. Oh, salted caramel's not a bad idea as well. Right, so it's creme fraiche. It's more buttercream than a ganache, to be honest, what I'm making. Because I should really be heating up the creme fraiche. This is taking slightly longer than I intended, and I'm reaching the point where I've been stood up for a bit and will need to go and lie down on the sofa. So there's a little bit of, this is not quite what I was originally intending, but it's good enough going on. Okay, right. So I'm just taking the melted chocolate out of the Cheapskate Bain-Marie. Pouring that in there. Not all of it. Again, I'm doing this entirely by eye. There we go, yes. So there's a thing that happens, I'm sure it's probably got a name, where you get the proportions right, and it's slightly shiny but also thick. Oh, yes, yes! I rock, fucking rock. Right, okay, and I did that entirely by eye, and that is pretty damn good, in my opinion. Right, so basically I'm going to use this like cement. I'm sure there's a better way of putting that. But it is my glue. Well, it's not much better, but it's slightly better than cement. It is my glue to stick the building blocks of the rabbit together. Yeah, if I wasn't allergic to nuts, there's a whole load of really nutty cakes that I could totally go for. But I am, so. Oh, yes. Right, there we go. So, is this going to work? The fluffy tail came out. Okay. So we're good, Because when you're using silicone molds, it's all about what's going to come out. My main fault, to be honest, with silicone molds is that I don't always wait for them to cool down enough, which, to be honest, doing this on a live stream has really helped because I've got loads of things to bake as well. Okay, so one piece hasn't quite come out as well as I would like. I don't think that's too bad, to be honest. Oh, I see. I need to pay more attention to how I'm putting it together. God. There we go. Okay, that's come out mostly okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just doing the shape. It's actually it's slightly textured so that you've got ears and a mouth and eyes. And that never comes out for me, so I just concentrate on the shape, which is recognisably a rabbit. Okay, so let's glue this shit together. I would be so crap on Bake Off. Apparently, oh god, Mel and Sue. If somebody was getting upset, Mel and Sue would swear loudly near the camera so that they couldn't use the take to protect like people from showing an embarrassing side of themselves on TV, which like presumably the producers absolutely hated. But I'm like, I never mind that. They wouldn't put me on there in the first place because like none of my takes would be doable. Right, so that's that. That's that. Yes, there we go. Haha. Gluing all the bits together. And it's like not using too much, but using just enough. There we go. And then shoving this on here. I love watching things like, well, I used to love watching Bake Off. I actually haven't watched it, not really out of any sense of loyalty to the BBC, just haven't fancied it. I really love Mel and Sue. Like even before Sue Perkins came out as Beautifully and Wonderfully Clear. I used to watch Mel and Sue when I was home revising from A-levels and stuff, when they did the God, I can't remember what it was called. It was I want to say Bake Off, and I mean like they had a lunchtime show with a live audience, which I remember because one of them tricked Sue Perkins into eating dog food, which, to be fair to her, she totally did. And she was like, oh my god, that's amazing. She was so pissed off with the guy who tricked her into eating dog food, completely reasonably. But she was like professional and chill and understanding that, yes, they were largely broadcasting to students who were dicks. I think like Ainsley Harrier had something in a similar vein. Okay. I am pretty pleased with how this rabbit cake is coming. I think this looks pretty fucking boss. So it's like, yeah, this is what you could win. This is what you get for donating first. I might, like, if you donate first another month, I'm not necessarily always going to do a rabbit cake, but I'm going to do a funky thing that isn't just AN cake. Okay. Glue the bits together. Like I said, I don't know what exactly next month's will be. Light lunch and late lunch, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. Yes, I did enjoy them there. When I was supposed to be revising for my A-levels. I think I did do some revision, but I suspect what stuck in my head more than the subject matter was Sue Perkins being tricked into eating dog food. Which is possibly a bit of a problem. I also got really distracted by reruns of ER on Channel 4, which, George Clooney's butt, and its corrupting possibilities. Right, I'm just going to wash my hands. Apparently, George Clooney's wife is currently, or has started watching reruns of ER, and she's not seen it before, and she's absolutely shocked by what a sexist twat his character was, because he's like a womanizing asshole. And Clooney's like rewatching this, going, "Oh God, yes." I'm like, I'm so glad that like my 15 minutes was 15 minutes, you know what I mean, was pre things being stored. I mean, it's probably, if you go on the Wayback Machine, then you can probably find some true pornographic things of me, but maybe. I don't know if they store absolutely everything. But like the Yahoo and MSN groups got deleted, so all the stills of like, it was a pre-transition Tabby and me. There was a still of us. Fucking. I mean, really. On, I think that was on one of the Yahoo groups. I'm really quite glad that that's not out there. And other such beautiful, delicate. Oh God, yeah, there was a nude of Craig Becker in the jacuzzi. That was, Craig was fucking wanted to murder me for that one. It's not like I took the bloody thing. But yeah, I'm quite glad that all of my youthful internet mistakes were made before everyone was quite so tech literate and in a tiny corner of Lancaster where no one was watching too much. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is hopefully add some fur onto this rabbit. And what I'm going to try and do is give it a cottontail with some buttercream. Is my plan. We'll see if it works out. So hopefully people will like what I bake them. Don't know. I need to probably emphasise that I can do vegan stuff and gluten-free stuff, and I will, pay attention to dietary requirements. But also, I think a lot of people are like, we don't live near Lancaster, so not sure about donating. But then we will see how the parcel to London goes and what happens. I have no idea how this rabbit's going to come out and if it's going to look halfway decent, but we will see. I'm quite pleased I'm making an attempt. My sister does these gorgeous things that look amazing and she takes her time, and that's why I used to paint with acrylic during my degree. I can't, if it's time consuming, I find it really difficult to do. Whereas if it's just slap it on and mostly get her done, then it's all right. But yes, so I don't know. I could do one of the orange smarty looking things as an eye for the rabbit. I don't know whether that would actually end up looking like it was a reject from terrifying bunny cartoon. Name momentarily escapes me. The one that everyone was like, yeah, kids, watch this and think about death. My sister, my brother-in-law went through his books from his childhood that were in his dad's house, in the attic or something, and put them down for his nephews, for my nephews, his sons. And Jen has been my sister's been reading them and going, oh my God, really? And she was like, the original of The Ugly Duckling has him wanting to commit suicide via getting big birds to kill him. And I'm like, yeah. Don't read the original Little Mermaid, that's also got themes of suicide in it. And she's like, oh my God, that's horrific. And then she's like, but I suppose we grew up with these books. Like, yes, Steve's fine. My brother-in-law's great. maybe don't look too hard at me for when you're talking about stable persons who were like, yes, Hans Christian Andersen is talking about suicide an awful lot. Great idea. But oh god, I got told about a teenager attempting suicide. He wasn't successful. My inner fucking 14-year-old took over and I immediately said, oh yeah, no, that was why he wasn't successful. He, in order to do it this method, you need to do this, this and this. The person talking to me sort of did a double take and went, that's not appropriate, but thanks for telling me. And I'm like, oh, yes, Watership Down! The fucking bunny cartoon that is like death, bad things, environmentalism. I mean, yeah. People said the Animals of Farthing Wood was bad, but it all started with Watership Down. Incidentally, if you haven't read Shardik, which is also by Richard Adams, who I believe is the writer of Watership Down, that is rather good. And I'm recommending it to you, Danny, because if you haven't read it, Shardik is a giant bear god. It is as depressing as Watership Down, but it's set in prehistory and, you know, doesn't involve bunny death. It does involve... Maybe don't read it when you're suicidal or miserable or depressed, thinking about it, because, yeah. But it's really good. I really like Shardik. But then... literally the first poem I remember my dad reciting to me was not waving but drowning. So, and then he explained what it meant, which I think is the real I don't know, turning point. The point where you've like maybe explained to your 4-year-old daughter a bit too much about death and suicide and calling for help and nobody noticing. That sort of thing. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to do an orange eye. Oh, yes. Yes. Haha. Alright, so I'm going to stick on a chocolate drop on top of the orange chocolate drop. And give this rabbit an eye! It looks a bit weird from the side, but it looks quite good from straight down. Okay, so this is the rabbit. It doesn't yet have its cottontail. I'm quite proud of it, by the way. It will have a cottontail in a bit. We are heading on to 5 o'clock, and my spoons are giving out, so I am going to end the stream here. I'm going to finish up decorating after I've had a bit of a rest, and I will deliver cakes tomorrow morning. Unless you ping me and message me and can pick them up tonight, in which case I'll make sure your cakes are decorated by the time that you are finished. I think that's everything I need to say. Yeah. If you're first to donate in April, you'll get a special cake along the lines of the bunny cake. Thank you for watching.